So with regards to South Africa's badass ICJ case, I'm seeing a lot of people commenting going, oh, South Africa, why are you getting involved in Palestine's genocide when there's such a high crime rate in your own country? Sort out your own country, South Africa. I don't know if these people realize that the high crime rate in my country is a direct result of the centuries-long colonization and apartheid that South Africa was put through. Because the apartheid governments, it's quite a lot to explain in a reel, but it was so deeply perverted that on every level it was socially engineered to totally break up the families of black people, to disenfranchise the non-white black body, completely disenfranchise, completely treated like animals, forced to work in mines for no pay, forced into alcoholism. For example, a lot of in the wine farms in the Cape, the people working on the farms were paid in alcohol. It was called the dop system. Dop means alcohol in Afrikaans. Dop, to have a drink. They purposefully got people addicted to alcohol to keep them in a state of complacency and disenfranchisement. People of color weren't given the same education that white people were given. They were kind of socially engineered to only be in the laborer position and to obey, and violently so. The black body was beaten and brutalized and violated for generations. And then when we finally got rid of apartheid in 1994, what they did when they left South Africa, you can read a book by a great economist called William Gumede called Thabo Mbeki and the Fight for the Soul of the ANC, because as they left, they purposefully bankrupted our nation. So that behind the scenes, yeah, we were given our freedom and black people were given their dignity back. But behind the scenes, they made sure that they still had economic control because they bankrupted us and they forced us to sign onto neoliberalism. And this is what colonizers do. So when the Mozambicans won their independence from the Portuguese poured concrete into the wells. So when the colonizer leaves, they completely demolish you as they're walking out the door to maintain their true interests, which are financial. So still today in South Africa, we are a very rich nation, but that money belongs to people in the West because they still own our mines. Anglo America and De Beers were founded by Zionists, the Oppenheimers. And the money that's pulled out of our land, and our people today, still after apartheid, work in mines for exploitation wages. So even though apartheid ended, they had generations of disenfranchisement and trauma. So the violence and the crime that is coming out of the person who has been disenfranchised for generations is a direct result of the apartheid and colonization that our country went through. That's where it came from. It's not disconnected. It's the consequence of what will happen to a person's being and soul when you do that to them. And even in 2012, apartheid ends in 1994. In 2012, there was an incident called Marikana at Lonmin Platinum Mines in Gauteng, owned by British companies and interests still. Our people going into the mines for 4,000 Rand a month, that's $200 a month, to do the most dangerous job in the world. And they were striking for a higher salary. And how did that strike end? Lonmin brought in the police and gunned the miners down. So we still today have economic control by the colonizing interests behind the scenes. And the violence and crime that we experience in South Africa is because of the torment, the generational torment that people of color went through. and that they're still disenfranchised. They don't have the generational wealth to get a good education. They're kept under the thumb still to this day in exploitation wage jobs. Yet the price of food is going up. They can't afford food, so they're going to steal it, obviously. So it's very disconcerting for me. And of course, no surprises that everybody making this comment about, oh, your crime in South Africa, what about the farmers? All white-os, all white people. People completely disconnected, so in their own needs. Oh, what about load shedding? Because, Eskom, the power cuts off in South Africa. What about the fact that white people are being attacked in South Africa? It's like, bro, I've been arm robbed with my friends at gunpoint for hours. I've been chased by a dude with a machete. Yeah, all those people were black. And I totally understand why they robbed me. I totally get it. And actually, while the robbery was happening, I became friends with the person who was robbing us for 2 hours at gunpoint. Because he knew that I knew that this was necessary. Like, it bothers me how much some people are so in their own, like, little bubble that they can't even understand the large picture here. Like, who even says, oh, what about your crime rate in South Africa, and doesn't see the connection between crime and the brutality of apartheid? You don't see the connection there. That doesn't compute.